Welcome back to the channel. I'm spending the entire week with this 2024 Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. It's the last one that Alfa Romeo are going to make before they kind of switch things up to go fully electric slash kind of hybrid. That's the plan anyways. I just picked this thing up like not even 20 minutes ago, and I'm turning on the camera here in the golden hour. Just rained. It looks so good. You know what? Usually I love my Alfa Romeos in red, and that's the way I take them, but this gray with this kind of blacked out rims is really doing it for me already. There's a lot of seagulls coming from nowhere. Check out how big these tires are. Got the nice Alfa Romeo badge right there, and you know, if you know Alfa Romeo, if you see that badge, it's a bit of a monster. Over 500 horsepower in this thing. It can rip. I've already been ripping it just on the way here. I'm gonna mount the GoPro up and I'll kind of take you through some stuff. This thing is fun. It's got like a manual mode. This thing is just fun. It's a fun SUV, you know. Let's open the trunk actually, because I haven't done that yet. So let's do that live on camera. Good, it is automatic. Look at the quad exhaust pipes on this guy, and it actually sounds really good. Decent amount of trunk space too. A little bit of storage under the floor, not bad at all. And the seats fold down with these guys, I guess, so that's good. Yeah, opens nice and wide too. Yeah, we're gonna have a good week. Look at these hood vents. Oh boy. I'm discovering this car in real time. That's the purpose of this video. Look at that. Real vents. Look at that front end too. Just aggressive, aggressive, aggressive. Yeah, let's have fun. All right, so basically the second time for me this entire week on the road with the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. A good old Italian name, you know. I'm always happy when I'm in an Alfa Romeo. I'm just coming from a Mustang, so I'm a little bit like jaded, or I'm a little bit spoiled. I won't say jaded, I'll say spoiled with the sounds that came out of that Mustang GT that you've seen already on the channel. You know I love it. So the thing is you know, the Alfa Romeo has more horsepower than it. The Mustang was pulling like 480. This one's pulling over 500 horsepower. But there is definitely a cool exhaust sound. This is by no means a quiet SUV. It's just not as like in your face as I would want it to be, and so far I can't find a way to like make it like that. Like I do have a race mode which kind of turns everything off, which I'll be honest scares me because I don't like having traction control off in my press cars because, well, I don't want to end up wrapped around a tree. But I'll put it in race mode because we're just going straight onto the highway here. So let's see what we got. Oh yeah, in that mode we've got some juice there. Well, yeah, that lady's giving me a look. I don't know why. Okay, we've got some. Yeah, it goes. It's definitely not like a huge burst of power that's gonna like put you back in your seat necessarily. Like it's not like, you know, and obviously that's the only thing you get from electric vehicles anyways, but it's cool. I like the power delivery of it. It's very smooth. The ride is honestly rough. It's as rough as the Mustang I was just in, and that's saying something. But again, I'm in race mode. I don't know if I can mid damper active. What's mid? The dampers are okay. Okay, so I guess I could have some type of dampening, which is cool in race mode. I really like these column mounted paddle shifters that I've got so far here. Actually, I'm gonna turn around on this highway here. We're gonna see if I put it into manual mode, in race mode. Let's see how much power we can throw at this thing. So, hang on, I'm gonna stop here a little bit, make sure my windows are closed. Yeah, this thing just looks cool. Like, I thought I would love the red color, but I like the gray a lot, like surprisingly a lot. I'm like, oh shoot, this is actually really nice. I'm still like one of the loudest things on the road, which makes me happy. You know, I don't want to be quiet, not during the summer. In the winter, maybe you don't care about who does what and who sees where, but in the summer, I want to be seen. I want to be noticed in all my cool press cars, and the Stelvio is like definitely one of them that I want to be noticed in, right? So let's go. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. Okay, manual mode's where it's at. Also, we get this really cool cluster, which I'll show you after when you put it in race mode. Okay, I'm getting the farts from you now. There she is. There she is. Alrighty. Woo! Oh yes, okay. There she is. Race mode makes the exhaust absolutely come alive. It also makes the shifting really good too. Whoa. Now, the one thing that I'll tell you right now that I do not like is the turn signals. I do not like them. I've never liked them on any Alfa Romeo. I don't like the I always leave them on by accident because there's never like a full down click. So like it's always there. You know what? I think I'm driving this thing in manual mode all the time. It's just so much fun. I love these paddle shifters. Oh, when I drove the Tonale, that's what I was missing. I don't care. Like, I keep my hands on them while I'm driving. I don't care if I'm not on a track. I'm just on Highway 20 here in Quebec. I don't care. Don't care. Oh, it's so cool. Man, what a cool week this is going to be. I can't wait to show you, like, everything, all the ins and outs of this car as I find them, because I'm kind of finding them myself here anyway, so... Yeah, nice golden hour. The sun's absolutely blinding me, but you know what? I'm going to downshift into fourth and absolutely take off. Yes, sir. Oh, boy. That's where she is, eh? Okay. That exhaust comes alive when you need it to in a race mode. Wow, that's cool. Turns off all the stuff that keeps you safe, but you can still rip it. It actually doesn't feel that unsafe, honestly. Like it's 500 horsepower, but it's like it's well delivered 500 horsepower, if that makes sense. So yeah, we'll have fun this week. I'll pick it back up a little bit later, probably tomorrow morning if I can do like a little startup for you. As long as my kid's not asleep, I'm always worried about waking her up. So we'll see. But I'll definitely show you a startup at some point during the week. I'll show you the interior and everything else in between, in case you want to buy one of these or you just want to know what it's like to live with. Let's do it. All right, so sitting now inside the front seat of the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. You can see we have an interesting interior. So I just want to take you over it, and then I'll tell you what I think, and then you can tell me what you think, because, okay, there's a few things in here. Okay, so first let's start with the steering wheel. Really nice. We're missing our kind of like assisted steering. I do have lane keep assist, but there's no lane centering assist, and I think that's where it would go. But we do have adaptive cruise control, different things like that, so that's good. I've got the red start button. That looks phenomenal. Really like that. And I've got also the Clover right here with a little bit of carbon fiber. And also you can see we have a little bit of Alcantara trim right there, which feels really nice in your hand. And then we have, of course, the column mounted paddle shifters. Very nice. Metallic as well, or metal, not metallic, actual metal. We've got our lane keep assist buttons right there. I have got like these nice circular vents, which you're used to seeing on Alfa Romeos. Right here is going to be the light switch controls, the auto start stop, the parking sensors, the illumination control. I've got 3 settings of memory seating. This is like, it looks like carbon fiber, but it's actually kind of like a black kind of stitched material, but it's cool. It looks like it. There's a nice bit of leather up here too, and there's a nice like soft kind of leather feel here for your armrest. Trunk control is also over here. We've got aluminum pedals, which are nice. The steering wheel is not like electronic. It is one of those ones you got to pull it down and then adjust it. So there's that's interesting. And then also we have a digital gauge cluster. You can change a little bit, like you can have performance and different stuff like that on here, and it'll change with the drive modes. But you could also have like different themes. So if I click the menu view button, you know, that's kind of like the basic theme, and then we have like the classic, and then we also have, you know, the one that I like to keep it in, and you'll see it changes with the drive mode too. So this is D, this is N, and this is A. And then also we have race if I hold it. That's a race mode right there. See, so that it kind of changes everything, and we can turn our dampeners to mid. They don't fully go on. Very cool. You can also hear the exhaust note kind of pick up when you do that, so that's interesting. But it's very basic. I mean, it's pretty much the same one that I looked at on the Tonale, and it reminds me a lot of the one on the Giulia as well. So really not a huge change, but it's all right. I like it. I really am a big fan of the steering wheel though. Blacked out Alfa Romeo badge looks really good here. No complaints there. Then we'll move over to our digital infotainment display. You can see how absolutely tiny it is. We've got Apple CarPlay. I've got Android Auto as well. You can kind of see some of the stuff here. Like I got performance gauges. That's kind of like the most in-depth that we can really go with it. You know, we could have technical gauges. I've got efficiency, consumption, drag race stuff. So like, you know, you got some track oriented stuff. I've also got vehicle information as well as, you know, kind of the drive mode explorer. You can see what does what there, but other than that, it's very basic. Built-in navigation is there too, but yeah, it's small, tiny. Like, what in the world, 2024? Kind of understand why they're maybe taking this thing away, because they don't want to. I think the Giulia, the one on the Giulia is actually bigger than this, the one that I had last year, because this is a tiny guy, but it looks decent because it kind of blends in. So like, I don't know, I feel like if it was like its own separate piece, I would notice the the size a lot more, but I mean, it is what it is. You tell me what you think about that, but it is laughably small, honestly. I got some basic vents here. I like kind of like, again, the carbon fiber like esque stitching. It's not actually carbon fiber, or it doesn't feel like it to me anyways. Dual zone automatic climate control, heated seats, heated steering, no problem. No ventilation though, so you know, for over 100 grand, no ventilation, yikes. So we also have a USB port right there, which doesn't actually allow you to interface with the car. It just kind of is a charger. 12 volt plug right here, little kind of slider there. It looks really cool, kind of puts everything together. Cup holders, basic shifter, and I can slide it over for manual mode. I like the little Italian flag here though, and like the little spot for my Alfa Romeo key. Electronic parking brake. This is your DNA mode as well as the race mode. You can see all that there. This is kind of how I was controlling the infotainment. You got quick selection buttons for the settings, and then this is your little volume knob button right there. Then got some wireless charging. That's where you're actually going to connect to the car via USB or USB-C. So a little bit of storage there, nice and comfortable. Seats are cool, black. I would prefer the racing seats in this because, you know, why not spend the extra money? You're already spending over 100 grand. Get the racing seats because this is a once in a lifetime or once in or last generation kind of thing. So I would get the racing seats, but they're pretty comfortable. Bolstering's very good as well. It's comfortable, no problem. You got this thing that kind of slides out. So yeah, Harman Kardon sound system, which is okay, and a nice big sunroof, which is also nice to have. But really, the best part of it is the steering wheel, I'll be honest. Everything else doesn't make that much sense to me, but you tell me what you think. Because, yeah, last generation, so who knows what they're going to replace it by. I'll pick it back up later. All right, welcome back outside. Found actually another quite nice little filming location to film the Stelvio in. And I kind of want to know what you think about the color in gray. Personally, I thought, like, you know, I can't have an Alfa Romeo that isn't red. But then, like, you kind of see the gray. It's kind of like an undercover kind of, you know, Alfa Romeo. I see a lot of people doing dual takes and then they realize what it is. So that's been really cool. Like, it's a nice gray too. Like it's a very elegant, very like high class gray, you know, if that makes sense. I also really like these tail lights too, the Q4 badge. The exhaust just sounds really good. Probably one of the best things about the Quadrifoglio is the exhaust noise, and I'm actually a fan of the rims. I know some people like absolutely hate the rims, find them too airy, but you could really see the brake discs, the caliper, everything. They don't hide anything from you right here. It just looks really, really cool, and I love this little clover. If you know, you know, right? So let me know what you think. Do you think it looks the best in gray, red, or possibly the green? All right, so back inside, driving the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. Let me pop in sport mode here as we get going. That's usually how I drive, but because of that, like, I've been just burning fuel. I'm like 3 days into it here, and like I am at 206 kilometers, less than half a tank already. So that's kind of crazy, but it's because I've been using manual mode. I've been hanging revs. I've just been doing like everything I can basically to not save fuel in this. And if that's something you want to do, then the you know, the Stelvio is more than happy to play that game, but you're gonna pay the price at the pump for sure. So yeah, that's something to keep in mind. It will take your money, as if it already hasn't with the high price point of this thing, like $109,000 to like $111,000, and it gets worse if you go and option the, you know, the racing seats, which I wish we did have them. I wish I could test the racing seats, because I feel like why not put the racing seats on this thing anyways? It looks way cooler. Speaking of actual racing, the Stelvio comes with a race mode, which is really cool. Changes up the gauge cluster a little bit. I can still have my dampers on, and I mean, like, that does help things quite a bit, but definitely doesn't fix any of like the sniffness issue or the fact that the car kind of beats you up a little bit. This thing kind of, you know, gonna rearrange you just a little bit there. And yeah, I'm gonna pop into manual mode though, because we're gonna give her some beams here. These column mounted paddle shifters are always fun to use, right? Hopefully you can hear that, because that sounds really good to me. Like, even a pull from third, it sounds really good. And then like as you kind of shift up, it's gonna get quieter and quieter, right? Like 6. I think it's like a 2.9 liter twin turbo V6 engine, 505 horsepower, and I think 486 pound-feet of torque. I'll put it on the screen in case I didn't get it right. But yeah, that's pretty fast for a Stelvio, for any kind of SUV anyways. Over 500 horsepower in any SUV makes it a little bit of a weapon. And it definitely feels quick. Like, it feels quick, it feels sporty. especially because the ride quality is a little bit more rough around the edges than you would expect like a normal SUV to be. I'm sure this is how the normal non-Quadrifoglio Stelvio is. I'm not sure they would change the suspension that much for the Quadrifoglio. Obviously, they changed the engine, but I'm not sure if they tuned anything else. So yeah, I even noticed in the Tonale, like the Tonale, the ride quality was a little bit better, but still you got beat up a little bit, even in sport mode, even in normal mode. Like no matter what you did, you kind of were getting beat up just a little bit more than you'd like, but yeah, I don't really mind getting beat up, especially when it's this fast. The younger crowd would probably not mind it that much. The handling is really good. The body roll is like in check when you're sitting in the driver's seat. I notice like when I have my wife in the back seat or whatever, she kind of moves around in the corners a little bit. So, but since I got really good bolstering here on the seats, like I'm just held into place like crazy. So from the front, I can't really tell that much body roll, but it does look like it when you have passengers in the back seat and they're kind of like moving around. It does look like there's a bit of it. Obviously, you can't avoid it. We're, a pretty spacious SUV, if I'm honest. We've got plenty of room in the back seat, plenty of room in the trunk, stuff like that. So, like, there is definitely a lot of room in here, and there's definitely a lot of vehicle to move around, especially through corners or whatever it might be. So, definitely to be expected. I really like this kind of like this little patch of Alcantara. It's very nice feeling on the hands. You still get the grip for the steering wheel, but also like you get nice little things on your fingers, and I feel like this won't age that badly either, so it's probably a good thing too. Like, so for really, I guess the point is, why would somebody buy this versus like something like maybe Porsche for over 100 grand? You're kind of in that playing field, or Mercedes, BMW. They're also in the conversation here. And they probably do a lot of things better than the Alfa Romeo it does. Like, let's just be honest about it. That's probably not even a thing to say probably. I think they, in fact, do a lot better, just different infotainment stuff. And, like, there's just better stuff, right? It's maybe a little bit more refined, those vehicles. But, the Stelvio is still something that stands out more than any of the other guys. Like, they don't make cars like this anymore. They won't make an SUV like this anymore. I mean, it's so unique. There really isn't that many, high class, high quality Stelvio Quadrifoglios around. I'm the only one that I've seen in like my neighborhood here, or like my little city that I drive around for reviews. I've seen the Stelvio plenty of times. The base model Stelvio, the 24, the 23, I've seen both of them. But the Quadrifoglio, absolutely not. So that's kind of, I think, why you buy it, is because you want to stand out a little bit more. You want to be, the guy with the Italian SUV that isn't a Ferrari. Without going full Ferrari, you can kind of get the Alfa Romeo version of it. But yeah, I can understand why it's not everybody's cup of tea, but though that exhaust note is really good. Like, you would have seen the Mustang not long ago here on the channel, and that was like a really, like beefy. This is like, it's got a more high-pitched noise. It's more refined. It's more, like, classy, we'll say. They don't want to bust too many people's ears, whereas the Mustang doesn't care. This, the Alfa Romeo is not necessarily going to wake up the neighborhood, but people are going to know you're coming. So, yeah, I just want to do a quick little performance, little rip, so you can hear the exhaust from the inside a little bit. I will give you some exhaust notes from the outside, stuff like that. Yeah, I'll pick it back up a little bit later. Well, back outside in the kind of like, honestly, this weather really fits the Stelvio. The color looks really cool in this kind of weather. No sun at all. But I'm back outside for the last time because I'm just finishing filming, some main stuff for the PRN channel that I'm part of. But yeah, kind of wanted to give you one final little walk around, then we'll hop in and do my final impressions for this thing. It's been a good week. It's really been a good week. It's been able to fit everything I want. I think the beauty of this thing is that it's a very powerful vehicle. It's got the speed, it's got the acceleration that you need, and it's something that you can drive all year round, which in Quebec is actually quite rare, because like obviously like the Mustang that I had last week, I'm probably not confident driving that thing in the winter, but this thing, no problem, all-wheel drive, big enough to handle it, probably doesn't mind getting dirty, although it probably doesn't look the best when it's dirty. But anyways, that's kind of the beauty of this thing. I think that's what I really enjoy the most, is the fact that you can do anything and you still have over 500 horsepower. Not a lot of vehicles like that nowadays. So nice to see them still here. But it's the last one, so get it while you can. So let's hop in. I'm going to give you my final impressions, and we'll take it from there. All right, as it starts to rain now, doing the final impressions for the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio, the last one for North America, and also the last kind of press car that I'm going to be doing, at least while I'm I don't have a full-time day job. Still going to continue to do the press cars. That's never going to change. As long as I can get them, I'm doing them. But yeah, because I was kind of on another leave. I kind of split my leaves when I had my kids. So this is my second one. So yeah, it's sad to see the Julia go. It's also sad for my, for YouTube not being my full-time job anymore. I'm going to go back to the real one to kind of actually pay the bills, but don't worry about that. If you guys keep watching the videos like you are right now, if you made it this far, that's going to help me enough, and eventually I will be able to fully do YouTube all the time, and it will be my full-time thing. Just not right now. Anyways, so proper send-off for the Stelvio. Sounds fantastic. A little bit of a gas guzzler, I want to say. It says 13.5 is my average, but I feel like I've been doing way worse than that. My tank has just been going and going. Really good on the highway, though. It kind of keeps itself up on the highway. But since I do so much city driving, I'm really running through the tank. Honestly, the worst part about it is the ride quality. The ride quality is tough. It's rough. It's not really forgiving, especially when I hit a huge pothole. I know it. So this thing on a bumpy track would be a ride. But honestly, the speed and the way that it handles kind of does make up for that. It's a very fun car to drive. It's a very fun car to put in race mode, manual mode, which of course, now that it's raining, I don't really want to do. I don't really want to turn my ESC off in the rain, although the all-wheel drive system here is pretty good. And I think that's, the worst part being, okay, the ride quality is not great, but the best thing about it is the fact that when it snows, I'll just put a pair of winter tires on this thing and I'm good to go. I still got my full performance 505 horsepower SUV for the winter, and it's still gonna sound really good. So a lot of the cool stuff, doesn't change when the weather changes. For example, last week I showed you the Mustang GT. That's a vehicle where I probably don't want to drive something with that much power all at the rear in the winter. So that's probably something I'm going to store. If you buy the Stelvio Quadrifoglio, when it starts to get crappy out, it doesn't matter, because you could just enable, your four-wheel drive and you're going to be good to go. And I think that fact alone makes it very attractive to people in Quebec. And I mean, again, you don't buy the Alfa Romeo because it's refined, because they have all the luxury features that you want. You buy it because purely you want to stand out. And as I drive by another Alfa Romeo with the same color, the only difference between the one I just drove by and mine is I've got the clover and he doesn't. And that's, another thing. Why buy it without the why buy it without the clover, right? What really is the big difference? Speed is a big one. That's what I mean. It kind of goes from a true sport SUV, because it's pretty quick, to kind of just a normal SUV with probably a similar ride quality, which at that point it's that's a bit of a tough sell. For me, the performance here of the Quadrifoglio really kind of attracts me to it. Otherwise, I don't know if I would recommend it so much. If it was just a regular Julia, I'd have to drive it, or the regular Stelvio. I'd have to drive it to see how bad or how good the ride quality is with the non-Quadrifoglio version to really say something. But yeah, even the Tonale was a rough ride. So I think, Alfa Romeo's suspension, maybe they haven't figured it out fully yet, but I've loved these metallic paddle shifters. I've loved the way this thing goes. It's just been a pleasure. And again, it just goes back to it's a really fast vehicle that's also practical. I fit my family in here. I didn't have to take a different car. It just all worked, right? And it worked as an SUV should, and I think that's really important. But yeah, so we'll leave it there. It's a very cool SUV. I kind of understand why they're killing it. Sometimes good things have to come to an end, and so is that going to be said for the Stelvio Quadrifoglio. I'm really glad I got to drive it before it goes out. I really enjoyed my time with it. Thanks so much for watching. You're the reason I get to do all of this stuff. You're the reason why I had an August like I had. I had some of my favorite ever cars in August, and it's all because you watch my video. So thanks so much. Even if you watch for 5 minutes, even if you skim through just to kind of see the interior, exterior, whatever, I appreciate more than I can put into words. And I just want to say thank you, as I have time to, because I'm going to go back to work, full-time job. I'll have less time to kind of sit and ramble in front of cameras. So yeah, still going to be here on the channel though. No videos will change. You'll still get 2 videos from me every single week. And if you want more of me, you can find me on PRN Test Drive. Over there, I do also full tours and reviews for them, and you can see me in full body and kind of like a more professional sense. So that being said, I will see you in the next week. See you in the next car. Take care.